You're tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network, featuring news, interviews, and commentary on all things Black Hollywood. Hollywood redefined. From Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akon Technologies. This is Black Hollywood Live, Geek Nerd Tech, featuring a weekly roundup of tech news and gossip. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host for Black Hollywood Live, Geek Nerd Tech.
Yeah, welcome to Geek Nerd Tech, the show we break down nerd culture tech news from a black and brown geek perspective. That was smooth as hell. My name is Joe Braswell.
Wow, man, I gotta check you up on that. Good job. We landed
that. Cause time keep on slipping.
Hey, ain't nothing slipping.
All right, I'm Joe Braswell. I'm joined as always by Akili. How you doing?
Man, I'm good, dog. Just living life, bruh. Living life.
Good.
You know
I'll take it.
Yeah.
In the booth, we're joined by the lovely Alexis Torres.
Hello, how are you?
How are you, Alexis?
I'm good. Tired.
Good and tired?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about...
Yeah.
You saw Jurassic World. We didn't.
I did.
I want to talk about that a little later on. I did see Tomorrowland. I want to talk about that.
Yes, I want to know what you thought, because I haven't been able to get someone to convince me to watch it.
Okay, well, that's me. You can, okay. So yeah, I'll convince you because I really liked it. I know why. Clooney. I know the problem. Yeah,
Clooney.
Clooney can read the phone book for me, and I'm in.
Yeah.
But all right. But let's get into tech news. Kind of a big week for Apple. Well, it depends on who you ask, and I know Akili's gonna eye roll and kerfuffle and kerfaw.
Hey, man, I got the inside scoop, dog.
Oh, the inside scoop?
Nah.
Okay. You and Tim Cook are just
we had lunch this week.
Speed dial. Okay. Or are you and Drake?
No, definitely not that.
Drake,
That's all.
Drake was looking kind of heavy at the. He's looking kind of big.
You can keep commenting on the man's size.
I'm just saying, he's kind of like his face was kind of puffy.
Okay,
Anyway.
TV.
All right.
Gives you the extra 10 pounds.
So let's start with Spotify. So, we should actually start with the fact that Apple had a big announcement this week. They're getting into the streaming game. They're trying to do the music thing. We've been waiting on wondering how that's going to work out.
Yeah.
So in response to that, you're fine, Alexis. In response to that, Spotify also. They didn't make an announcement, but they suspiciously or right on time closed this last round of financing.
They had a response. Let's put it that way.
Well, they've been some rumor of them, and they've been trying to get this last round of financing in, and arguably like why Spotify they're doing great. Well, they need one more round of financing. How much money do they need? They're killing it.
Yeah.
But they got moves to make, and so they got this last round of financing, and I think it was like a $500 million. What is it?
It's up there.
The $500 million?
Their valuation now is $8 billion.
Right.
So I believe they got a little over $500 million.
Let me see.
To cap it off at the 8 Bs.
Yes, it was. It was $526 million.
Yeah.
And then now which brings them up to an $8 billion valuation.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty sick, man.
It is, and so with that, they plan on making some moves, and I think that the question is about Spotify feels really confident in their space in the streaming game. They feel really, really confident in their ability to hold this down, even against Apple, which is a good place to be because Apple usually sends people running.
I mean, I feel they should be confident, being that they're kind of like the pioneer or the leading player in the streaming business in terms of their subscribers. Like they have 20 million subscribers that are actually paid, and I think that they have about 75 total people total subscribers total people that use the service.
Right.
Obviously, the freemium option is the big draw for them, and I think that because they have such already a market penetration that they have a slight edge over Apple. It'll take a lot as we get into other stories on the show. It'll take a lot for Apple to kind of take away from their core fan base.
Right.
And I think Spotify is still going to evolve and adapt and add new features and make the offering a little bit more sweeter. I mean, already you can get so much from Spotify besides just music, like how they curate it. You can get song lyrics, you can get podcasts, you can get all the behind the scenes and special things about your artist that you want to know. So they're already giving like cool stuff that make you want to stay subscribed.
I would say that Spotify quietly in 2015 has made a lot of moves in terms of what the UX is. On the site. I mean, the user experience is like way better. I haven't really dipped into a lot of it, but I keep looking up to see these different curated, the way things are curated, the way things are presented, what they're offering as opposed to just songs.
For sure.
So yeah, we'll see. I mean, what they're banking on is, the streaming services is really boils down to the UX, the user experience, like how the user wants to navigate through that. And a lot of people still were on Pandora because Pandora was the way to go. So Pandora was kind of first. So people are still sort of almost by default been just on Pandora because that was the best user experience. But even though it's not a proper streaming, so Spotify is really trying to take some of that market share from Pandora, but also it's leading the way in terms of that. Yeah. And Apple, I think it's third. They're really going to struggle between, they can't snatch down what Pandora is doing with Apple Radio. Right. They can't snatch down what Spotify is doing. So we'll see if that works. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't done, I haven't really explored Beats music before it was bought. So I don't really know what the offering was before that. But I'm really interested to see what they do, obviously, with Apple Music. However, I think that Apple's in a, we'll talk about it later, but I think Apple's in a great position because of their liquid. Right. But I think in terms of Spotify's presentation and offering, and already the social element built into Spotify, I think to break that up is going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot. It's going to take time. It's going to take a lot. It has to be some type of unique feature that Apple comes with that's just going to like change the game and have people adopt or move over to them, divorce Spotify and move over to them. And I don't foresee that happening in the next year. I think whatever Apple does that's innovative, I think Spotify's right there.
Well, okay, so I agree. The last question I had was. Where's the brand integration in terms of Beat into Apple Music? Does Beats disappear? I mean, is it Apple Music? It's Beats powered by Beats. I mean, how are they presenting that? Did you see that? Because I feel like Apple Music is just absorbed. I mean, Beats Music is just absorbed, or what?
I think a lot of it is being cannibalized. I think the absorption tactic is smart. I think that's definitely what's going to happen. I think the Beats moniker obviously is what makes the brand awesome. The headphones and other byproducts of that. But I think obviously to put it into full stream mode with the Apple brand is more beneficial, and I think that's the move that they're going to do marketing wise.
So Beats Music, as we know it, is dead. Beats Music is now Apple Music.
I wouldn't go on record and say that, but I would say it's definitely being repackaged as Apple Music. So, right. Yeah. I guess in a way it is.
But so the branding on it, like it's okay. Doesn't care. Okay. So with Apple Music, one of the things that Apple Music did as well with this big announcement is they're offering something called a family plan. Which is actually very, very interesting because it basically, instead of having $9.99 for per user, right? It's offering you $14.99 up to 6 people in your household can use it. And I don't know how does that work.
Well,
exactly?
This is something that they actually took from Beats Music. This is what was part of the infrastructure of Beats Music. Right. So I think this is one of the key strokes that they're taking from Beats and applying it to Apple Music. And you're asking, how does it work? What do you mean, like?
Well, I mean, how do you monitor that? Like, how do you know what's in your? Does my family include?
I mean, it's the same thing with
your
apps.
Can my family include like you, Lola, and Alexis?
Whoever. Same thing with your apps. Like you could share your apps on your phone even now. Like you could buy an app and share it with 5 people. And
you can?
You can do that right now.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's the same principle. So if you bought I don't know, you bought a game on out of the iTunes store or whatever, out of the App Store. Yep. And you're like, Akili, you should play this game. I don't have to pay for it. But you could only do that with 5 people, I believe. So it's the same principle.
Wow. Yeah. All right. Well, give me some games in.
Hey,
just slide me some apps.
Slide you some apps, my G.
I know Alexis can't slide me no apps because she's still messing with that Galaxy Android mess.
Oh, stop.
But
to this point, like I think it's a smart move because I think Apple's reading the landscape. People already share their passwords with HBO Go or Netflix or Hulu, so they're like thinking like that's kind of like the culture, that's the precedent. So why not make that a selling factor, make that kind of like our big differentiator from Spotify. Sure. And what's crazy that Spotify is like, hey, we'll do the same thing.
Right.
So kill it. Boom.
Okay. Yeah. So that helps a lot. Okay, so and then also the other thing that one of the things that kind of was came up in the Daily Beast is the latest beef, the latest beef, Jay-Z versus Drake in Tidal versus Apple Music.
Yeah.
I did not like the way that the Daily Beast wrote this. It's kind of fun. It was tongue in cheek and funny.
Of course.
Jay-Z announced his title, and then Drake claps back with Apple Music. I don't know if he clapped back, but now tell me, look at Drake. Drake looks like somebody's daddy, like with the vintage, like somebody's like. Anyway, he's got the vintage Apple jacket. I don't know.
Hey, man.
I'm gonna reserve all my comments on Drake. I'm on the downside of the Drake revolution right now.
I just think this story is interesting. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it quite yet. Being that Jay-Z came to Drake and was like, "Yo, rock with me, man. We about to do this title thing. Sign up. Roll with me. I got all these other people. I want you to be a part of it." And Drake was like, "Yeah, okay, cool." And then, "No, I'm not. I'm good." He pieces out, and then he inks this deal with Apple. I mean, I get it. Obviously, he's about his bread. It's about his money, but it's like, yo, you stick with the artist. Stick with the artist. Stick with your peoples. You know what I'm saying? Even though, I mean, it's kind of hard to argue because you have Dre on one side, you have Jay-Z on one side, so it's like who do you give your allegiance to? And so, I mean,
Dre-Z. I don't know.
Dr. Drake.
Dr. Drake. Z. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, look, Dollar's got him over there, so he's got the cool vintage Apple jacket. So
he's just so corny to me. I'm sorry.
Man, I have to agree. He is super corny. Alexis, are you into Drake? Like all other women your age?
Nope. Honey Bunch is a nope.
Thank you.
All right. Wow. That's refreshing. That's very refreshing. Okay. So yeah, that happened.
However, we can't skip the fact that Apple and a hip hop artist, that's pretty innovative though. I mean, what's your take on that? Like we always see the U2s of the world, but now you're seeing someone from the hip hop community being represented in technology on front stage. That's big.
Well, ironically, this isn't the first time that this happened. If you recall,
okay, give me the history.
There's a very famous keynote done by Steve Jobs where during the launch of the iTunes store, the Apple Store, on the big screen.
Say Hammer?
No, okay. He brought out Hammer, and Hammer was. Actually, I love Hammer, but no, he brought Dr. Dre, ironically.
Okay.
Dre, but he was on the screen, and Dre was talking about how this is going to revolutionize, and this is the way you should buy music, and this is going to revolutionize music.
It's a difference, though.
The whole idea of Steve Jobs again foreshadowing Steve Jobs bringing out Dr. Dre. Years later, and then of course years later, Dr. Dre partners with Apple,
of course.
And so I don't know. To patch that torch to Drake, I don't know.
Dr. Dre is not. I mean, he's an artist, but he's not really an artist. Like he's a producer, he's a musician. I mean, he can MC too, but people know him for his production.
Yeah.
Versus Drake, he's like a mainstream artist. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I thought that was cool in the sense that we're seeing more representation.
Sure.
And what that's doing for blacks in technology.
Sure.
Being on the front stage. So
sure.
I mean, he had a speaking role.
Yeah, he came out.
In the presentation.
Drake is very visible.
Yeah.
I think it does a lot for corn too. The production of corn.
You're absolutely right.
All right, let's move on to Google's Google. Sorry, the two most coveted demographics: the black folks and the corn, to come together to form Drake. All right, the Google Cloud Blueprint joint thing. What is this? You know this?
Yeah, I know a little bit about this. It's a software tool that they've built and they utilize that drives everything on Google. It's called Borg, and essentially,
like Star Trek, like the Borg, like the all-knowing.
Exactly.
Oh, no.
It's a software, a bunch of algorithms that help compute tasks across the whole network. And so, what this story is about is essentially opening up this to other coders, other programmers, essentially giving them the opportunity to tap in and to be able to develop apps and develop websites based off what they already have. And so Google's strategy is like, hey, we're already innovating, but to really be more aggressive, we need to kind of get our hands off the reins a little bit and let other people come in and innovate with us, and then we can make more happen at a more accelerated rate if we do that. And so I mean, the strategy is obviously competing against the Microsofts and Amazons of the world who have all this cloud cloud computing with all the things that they're selling, all the things that they're networking. So Google just wants to be more innovative and get the best minds that are out there that may not work for the company, but might have the intelligence and have a new way of creating something that will create the next Google Glass or create the next self-driving car. Who knows?
Right.
So
Okay, well, this is good for them. I have nothing much to say about this because I have a lot to say about this next thing. The Pentagon. We as Senator McCain has wrote this op-ed or talking about how do we get Silicon Valley to help the Pentagon, and I guess the main conceit here is that the war that we face and the biggest challenge we face in global security and in the threat to America is not coming from nuclear bombs flying across from Russia or even China. It's the cyber terrorism and the cyber wars, and China is way ahead of the game. And essentially, like, we've always had this divide between the private sector and the military, for good reason. There's been a lot of the military develops. We develop weapons and we develop ships and we develop all this other stuff. And then sometimes we contract private companies to do that, like Northrop or whoever, or Halliburton. In the technology side, there's tons of people in the Pentagon who work on this stuff, but the real innovators are obviously all over Silicon Valley at Google and Facebook and all those other folks, and they don't work for the Pentagon, and it's a very big giant divide. So whereas in China, all the best hackers work for the government. It's all one big unit. It is the Borg, it is one big hive mentality over there. So all the best hackers and all the best science are with the government inherently.
Right.
So the question is, how do we bridge that gap between the private sector and the military? Now, I understand what this is saying, like, from a philosophical standpoint, like, hey, you guys are smart, we're smart, we need your help, let's figure out a way to get you guys developing for us, or vice versa. What I don't like about this is it feels like a Trojan horse, not to get political here, to that sort of age-old Republican thing about deregulation and private sector, about privatizing everything, like sort of how the government is inefficient at doing XYZ, therefore we need the private companies to do that. This is why you have Halliburton building everything, so you have Blackwater, becoming a larger army than some other countries as the private companies, where you have all these different things happening. So the question is, maybe, I feel like there's got to be a way to either open that up for some sort of government program that allows for those innovators to be developed.
I mean that's.
But I don't want to see it farmed off to Google, because then what's next? You're farming other stuff off to Halliburton. Then you're farming other stuff off to jail. We're doing that now, privatizing jails, privatizing everything else. So I don't know. It's just there's some things I feel like that the government should control and regulate. What do you say on all this?
I have two short takes.
I threw in a lot there, but that's...
I think that, one, you say not to get political, but it is political. Like, whoever has the biggest, the baddest military, makes all the plays in the world. They're the best at the card table. Right. So I think, that's been America's leverage for decades. Like, because of their military power and prowess, they're able to dictate what happens in the world affairs. And so when you talk about cyber terrorism and how all the systems are now linked up because of O's and ones, and how someone from a random place can come over there and disrupt like a major system, like that's huge. So I feel that one, I think America has obviously derailed itself by not investing money into our school system, into our children. Like, we talk about STEM programs all the time: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Like, it's not promoted. Like, we're like, what, number 40, or we're like way behind in terms of the world race, in terms of students excelling in mathematics and science. So
we're definitely on the wrong side of 35 on that one in the list.
So I think that's the first thing. Like, if you want people to be intelligent and innovative and create the new technologies that serve and protect, then you have to invest the money into teaching in schools. And so I think that's one thing. And then two, I don't necessarily have a problem with the recruiting of people from the Googles and the Facebooks of the world, or the people that are privatized and are specialized. Like I think, I mean, if it's for a common good, if it's for a common purpose, which it's not. If we talk about weaponizing stuff, then I mean, it's like it's a hard argument. It's because it's like, what are you using this technology for? Is it really to benefit us? You know what I'm saying? Or is it to benefit your own agendas?
It's not dissimilar from, you know, I mean, we're you know, one of the things that right now is like the Patriot Act is getting sort of dismantled as it is, and so which is good, I think. But what's happening with that, why it's able to work, is basically all of our phone companies and phone carriers are able to do all that now too. Right. I don't know what's worse: the government being able to read every text and listen to everything you've had, or Verizon, AT&T,
or Facebook,
and Sprint being able to read everything and do everything you do, or Facebook, or Google. Yeah. But I guess the point is that this sort of like deregulation, privatization thing, I think that what I'm coming from is, if you're going to bring those people in from Silicon Valley, it's not just like contract this out, handle this for us. I feel like there has to be some sort of, you have to bring them in the tent of the government, like there be some sort of regulation.
Of course.
And I think that's what the debate is.
I think the regulation
and development,
the R&D aspect of the research and development aspect of it, like we talk on the show a lot about Moore's Law, where it takes about 1.5 years for the new processors to be faster, smaller, cheaper. Right. And so when you talk about new technologies, you talk about innovating on a government level, like, yo, they're not moving at that 18-month pace. They're moving at a decade pace. Right. So like by the time they adopt something and invested it throughout the nation, like it's old.
It's really old.
Like, it's like, so like how do you go against that? You know what I'm saying? How do you work against that? Like, because technology is changing literally every 1.5 years. Yeah. Like how do you integrate it, you know, in the government or how do you institutionalize it?
We talk about all the time that Moore's Law presents a very interesting problem of the technology curve always being ahead of the legal curve, and and anything like it takes, you know, technology is moving way faster than military, government regulation and laws can catch up. So it'll be interesting to find out. But it's an ongoing debate. We'll see what happens. It's just something definitely to bring up.
Yeah, man.
Speaking of STEM, speaking of science, technology, engineering, math, the Bay Bridge, the bridge that you and I have gone over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times.
Holy smokes, man!
It's recently been sort of redone. It's been redone. A beautiful new, suspended version of it on the East Bay side.
Shout out to the Warriors.
Yeah, shout out to the Warriors. But apparently there's some problem with this brand new bridge in that, like, it's got some corroded steel stuff happening, which is a problem for a lot of reasons, mainly because
it's a problem.
Famously the Bay Bridge, the Bay Bridge collapsed in 1989, I think. Which the plates came through and the cars went through, and that was like crazy during the 89 earthquake. And really, more importantly, like, the Bay Bridge connects two giant fault lines, essentially. Yeah. So, like, if God forbid that San Andreas junk starts happening,
man, we gonna need the rock. We gonna need the rock.
The rock and the helicopters come rappelling in.
We gonna need them.
So, I just was really. I gotta admit, every time I drive the Bay Bridge, I'm a little scared. I have a flashback to '89. I'm a little scared, especially on the bottom, because I'm like, well, if the shit pops out.
But it looks so nice, though.
I'm falling, but the top, I feel like, okay, well, at least I'll fall down to the second level. But when they rebuilt this, I felt like safe. I'm like, brand new bridge.
When you drive across this joint, you don't even feel like a bridge because it's so wide and expensive.
Yeah, I'm like
you feel like you're just on the freeway.
I'm like, this is perfect. And now the shit's corroding. What's wrong with your people?
Aren't they gonna fix it?
Akili, tell me.
Well, the thing is, like, they knew about this problem when they completed it. Before they completed it, they knew it was a problem, but they figured that they could fix it over time, and they would invest money into it and innovate over time. However, hey, earthquake could happen tomorrow. And like, while you're still trying to fix it and figure it out, like, yo, that could be the destruction of number one, I mean, the people in their lives who are driving on the bridge, but also like the lifeline of San Francisco, because all the stuff that's being imported and transported into the city because of the bridge system, like, that city's gonna be in danger. Like how are people gonna eat and get water and stuff? So I feel like, man, I feel it's a huge problem. Like, it's a huge infrastructure problem.
To Alexis's point, like, what's being done,
Yeah.
I mean, what's being done? They're testing the different steel, and they're taking bits and pieces off the bridge and, like, doing these type of tests where they bend the metal and see what what aspect of the metal is broken or not feasible for the structure, and then once they test it, they have to like obviously rebuild that part of it. So they're doing it piece by piece.
Man,
That's gonna take forever.
Looks like I have to drive around down to the San Mateo Bridge.
Yep.
or just come up on the 101.
Man, nah, you just got to get the Uber chopper.
Uber chopper?
Yeah, you don't know about that?
No.
They got the Uber chopper, Doc.
Is that real?
It's real.
Oh, I thought you were messing
I'm
around.
dead serious. I'm
In
dead
San
serious.
Francisco only?
They have it in L.A. and San Francisco and New York.
Ooh.
Uber chopper.
When I my Uber app, I do not see a little helicopter icon.
you ain't got that status, bro.
I need the helicopter icon. I be late and shit. I need the helicopter icon to pop up.
It's
my
pretty
word.
pricey though.
Well,
I would
yeah.
imagine, yeah. It's slightly more than the $1.43 a mile, or whatever it's called. Okay. Well, we'll keep an eye on this, but man, I don't know that I'll be on that bridge anytime soon. So I'm not to say. Speaking of again, science, math, engineering, and technology, super innovator, superstar, James Cameron is doing some more innovating again. With these new sort of open source solar arrays things, sort of like this like sunflower power producing things, and like look,
It's dope, my G. It's very dope.
I'm not mad at James Cameron at all. People get mad at him for like his arrogance and whatever else, but you know, I've been Team James Cameron since Terminator 1, Terminator 2, Aliens.
I mean, he holds the records. He's in the record books, and not just that. Like he's like halfway a scientist, exploring the ocean, doing crazy shit.
All the innovations he's made in tech and movies have been fantastic. The way he's implemented, you know, this tech in movies and in movies like Aliens and Terminator 2 and in the Abyss,
Avatar,
and then obviously Avatar, and then his innovations he made in Titanic and other stuff. And the dude is a killer. But all the stuff he's done with his building that sub and building those rigs and building all those underwater apparatuses to go explore, like he's built stuff, and including even like all the stuff that he's built for all the complete technology they've built out for Avatar. My friend Nate worked on Avatar, and they talked about every day they're building new camera rigs, building new software, building new things. Everything that they did in Avatar,
was original.
They had to build to make all those camera rigs, and now they're still using to this day all that technology. And he's actually in there shooting stuff.
I mean,
so now he's building solar.
He's been that guy since when he was rocking with George Lucas. He's always been like the practitioner. He's always been the hands-on guy. Always been the guy that's gonna mess with stuff and like figure out how to do something different. Like that's been him since the early times of his career. So
and this guy's approaching a billionaire status as a director.
Man, that's crazy.
I mean, that's like Spielberg. Spielberg.
He's definitely on that level.
But I'm just talking about just like not even like as a producer, writer,
As a
like
director.
as
That's
a,
it. One lane.
Yeah,
One
exactly.
hat. Yeah.
I've got other. I'm diversified. I bought into Google. No, he's directing
As a
movies
director.
and making that much money.
I mean, like the two highest grossing movies is him.
Of all time are him.
Avatar, Titanic.
Yeah, good night.
Good night. That's already like $3 billion.
So it's good to know that in his spare time, you know, aside from like, you know, hugging up on blondes,
sunflower.
He's innovating this thing. So that we should just say that Muse is a company founded by his wife, Susie Armis Cameron, and her sister Rebecca Armis. Basically these sunflowers could help schools. You know, they can offset schools' energy by 75 to 90%. They also tie into the digital display, so the students can actually see and learn what's happening.
Absolutely,
it's really, really dope, and I hope it takes off. And I got no mad.
It's not
going
to take off quite yet because he's still trying to find a patent for it or get a patent for it. And so once that process happens, then he could sell it off and do what he got to do. But
he's the king of the world.
Hey,
he's the king of the world. I'm not mad at him.
I got my own sunflower though. It's cool.
Do you really build one up with
it's solar powered as well
on your watch? Like you just like lift it up. Whoa! I just got lost. What's next? What's next, Alexis? What do you got?
Akon.
Oh, Akon. We talked about Akon
y'all
before.
was clowning me. Why you going hard for Akon? Because Akon's smart. That's why. Y'all sleep.
I was clowning you. I'm not mad. I'm doing a 180 on my take on Akon in terms of his philanthropic and I don't know.
Come on, dog.
I mean, he still can only sing a hook.
Man,
but,
no.
Huh?
I'm not gonna let you disrespect him like that.
We already said this. Akon's got tracks.
Man, he could produce, he could write.
Right.
Man, he got it all, dog. And not just that, like he's savvy enough to want to bring his skills and talents back to the continent of Africa, and I think I applaud that. We talk about
talked about
GNT
this, yes.
and black and brown perspective. Like this
sure.
is a huge perspective, like because I mean, think about solar. We talked about the solar energy, like. Half of most of Africa has sunlight for 320 plus days out of the year.
Yeah.
Why aren't we not harnessing this energy? Because this energy is going to help produce electricity. That's going to help give us more internet, more devices. That's going to help provide a technology boom on the continent of Africa.
Right.
And he's leading the way. Like
Okay.
we talk about China being an innovator. Like,
Right.
dude, look at the various countries in Africa that are going to be killing the game because they have the infrastructure to be able to do this, and they have a natural resource that's going to provide that for them.
Yeah. I look. I'm still riding with
You're a hater,
T-Pain.
dog.
I'm still
You're a
riding
hater.
with T-Pain.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
I'm gonna get in business with Akon, dog.
I'm getting a bit of Nate. Nate Dogg passed away. I can't say
See?
Nate Dogg. Nate Dogg, T-Pain. Who else is the hook singer? That's it. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. I do like Akon. I do applaud him very
It's
much.
cool.
So.
It's cool. It's
Yeah.
cool.
Before we get to Tomorrowland and get some movie reviews, I do want to tell you guys about something that I'm super excited about. That we want to let you guys know out there about, that you guys can apply to something called Dance Battle America. It's ABC's newest competition special, a la Dancing with the Stars, some of these other dance competition things. What makes this one very cool is this is sort of like conceived and by our own AfterBuzz founder and friend and host Maria Menounos and Juliana Hoff from Dancing with the Stars. They're good friends. The show is called Dance Battle America. It's coming. As you guys may or may not know, if you guys watch, follow Maria, follow her social media. Like the last couple of years, her and Julianne, have done these like sort of dance battle things, which have really been great and really funny. And they've been taking off, and people like Kate Hudson and Amber Riley have been joining as well. Kind of like Jimmy Fallon's lip sync thing, but a dance off is actually a little better. So now it's gotten so big that they're bringing the challenge to everyone in America to sort of to ballot out and get a chance to fly out to Los Angeles.
You don't want no problems. You don't want no problems, G.
Yo, I mean, I will say this. I told this story last night, but
I got moves, G.
I did. Julianne's brother Derek Hoff, who's also a fantastic dancer. I did challenge him to a dance off at Maria's Maria's birthday party a couple years ago.
I ain't talking about them. I'm talking about me, bruh.
I'm not gonna say
Catch
who
his
won.
fade, homie.
I'm not gonna say that it only lasted 15 seconds.
You only lasted 15 seconds.
But let's just say that I didn't win. Anyway, so no, it's really great. So the thing is, I mean, straight. You guys can actually be a part of this. You guys can sing your dance moves and come and maybe be a part to get an opportunity to come compete on this show. It's an opportunity of a lifetime. Chappie. Here's if you want to check it out, you should go to www.dancebattleamericacasting.com. That's dancebattleamericacasting.com for more information on how to submit your video. Don't forget to post it on social media using the hashtag DanceBattleABC. Hashtag DanceBattleABC. It's going to be fun. Maria, Julianne, me. Check it out. That's all I got. You don't want no problems.
Nah, dog, you don't want the fade, bro.
I got moves from 1995 that you don't even know about.
Your moves are that old.
You don't even know about these moves from 1995. All right, so moving on. Alexis, let's talk about Tomorrowland, because you're wondering if you should see it. Do you guys care about it?
I care because I want to know if it's even good.
There you go.
That's a tricky question. I love this movie for a lot of reasons. I also understand why that it's gotten as much criticism as it has. The movie is very, very, very cool. It does a very good job of sort of idealizing this sort of old new future. So that future you see in like the World's Fair in the 60s, the future that was sort of exhibited in actual Tomorrowland in 1955, as you can see with George Clooney's Electrolux jetpack that he made from the Electrolux stuff. It's very, very cool and retro in that way, that retro future. At the same time, and it's very hopeful, and it's very much about like optimism and hope, being able to generate enough, being able to hopefully save the world and encourage people to do things, to innovate with science and math and technology, only by being hopeful and being optimistic and not being pessimistic and cynical.
Tomorrow will bring.
It does have a beautiful message of like you can sit by and say complain and say like things are bad anyway, so why let them be bad, or you can do something about them, or you can say things are good. And so all that being said, I love the message. The movie itself has a lot of sort of pacing problems, but I loved looking at it. I loved the two kid actors. I love the kid who plays the young George Clooney, and I love the old George Clooney. I like looking at this movie a lot, and I feel like last thing I'll say is Brad Bird directed it. I'm not the first person to say this, but it feels very much like, you know, it might have worked better as a Pixar film because it has. I mean, it feels like it has more animated film beats than it does, live action beats. And thinking about that more and thinking about Brad Bird, I mean, he did a great job with Mission Impossible, but I think about him with The Incredibles and Iron Giant. I think maybe this should have been or could have been an animated movie, but I liked it. It's a big product placement. Look, there's Space Mountain. So it's right there. So I don't know. Is that a ringing endorsement, Alexis, or are you still like Snoozeville?
No. I'm just, I guess because a lot of people have been telling me that it's like, oh, it's not what everyone expected. It's okay. The graphics are amazing. It's visually fantastic, but like I guess writing and acting, it's kind of so it's. But I've also heard that people really love it and they love everything about it. They love George Clooney and her. It's been a toss up. So
yeah, I've heard that argument that they loved it because of George, obviously, and the stuff that I've seen in terms of the trailer, that looks fresh to me. It looks really dope.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely want to go see it. So
shout out to my friend Nate who also worked on this as well as Avatar. I will say that the bad news is. It is a gigantic write-off for Disney.
Really?
Write down, I should say. $140 million loss for Disney.
Yeah.
I mean, not quite as bad as what Disney lost on The Lone Ranger.
Yeah,
but,
that was pretty terrible.
But this is pretty bad, and I don't know if this is going to be bad for Brad Bird. It's certainly not going to be bad for Clooney.
No.
But
I can't think of a movie that Clooney's tanked on, to be honest.
Yeah, same here.
But this movie wasn't really a Clooney movie, right? He was in a sort of a Disney machine. It was almost like this is a fully blown Disney machine. We're gonna plug him in the middle of it. Okay. He wasn't asked to really carry it. I think
He wasn't?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, yeah, I think Disney's still sitting well because of their Avengers success.
Yep.
So even if this does tank,
And then
they're still sitting sweet. So
yeah, and then with Ant-Man coming out as well, and all the other Marvel movies, their lineup, they'll be fine.
yeah.
I mean, the movie costs $180 million to make, and then, of course, another $150 million to market it, which people don't realize that you make a movie for $180 million, you got to spend at least that. Whatever the budget is, you have to spend at least that to market it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then, so it's not just on the $180 million, it's also the marketing. So that's all money spent.
I think that's the argument, too. Like, you have, big success with the films that, have that are going on sequels, and furthermore, like the films that are kind of like new franchises that have these big budgets are like very risky. And you look at like what was the Jupiter Ascending, like that one tanked.
Yikes.
And what was the one that was a few years back, the Disney movie?
The Lone Ranger?
No, another one.
Was it another space one?
It was on a different planet.
John from Mars.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, John Carter.
Yeah, John Carter. That one was
Yeah.
a huge. That was the biggest tank. It was 200 million.
But it's funny because I actually liked that movie though.
What?
Yeah, I wasn't
Could
feeling
possibly.
I don't know why. I just I didn't mind
Torres.
it. I really didn't mind
You were
it.
probably
John Carter?
I'm not saying it's the best movie. I'm literally just saying that I was entertained and that was about it.
Did you see it in the theaters?
I did.
Okay.
I paid money for that.
I paid money for that garbage too. I'm
Yeah.
still mad about
Trust
it.
me, I'm not gonna buy the DVD. I'm not gonna sit there and tell people to watch it. I actually watched it. I was like, this is okay.
That was supposed to be their Star Wars. That was supposed to be like that was supposed to be a 3-movie
Really?
deal. Yeah, 3 movies.
No. Again, it's not the most terrible thing I've ever seen because I've seen terrible.
Ew.
But for what it was, I was like, okay, I can see why they made this. And I mean, a lot of people I know used to that actually liked Cowboys versus Aliens. It's not a Disney movie, but that was also a terrible movie.
I like Cowboys versus
See,
Aliens.
there you go.
Yeah, that was a pretty bad one too.
See?
To be honest.
Yeah.
Conceptually, Jon Favreau, okay, whatever.
Cowboys versus Aliens.
Bad title.
No, that title was terrible,
It's a
but
bad
the
title.
concept, I was like, oh, this
Say
is
it
going to
out
be really
loud.
cool.
No,
And then Harrison
that-
Ford just killed it for me.
Bad title, decent. I thought decent movie. A little over, a little. People are a little hard on that movie, but the title's terrible. John Carter's terrible.
Also-
Taylor Kitsch, no, was not doing it.
I feel like it's just interesting in the sense that it's really a crapshoot. Like you look at the movie, you know, Guardian of the Galaxies. No one really knew about it, but it blew the F up. You know what I'm
Excellent
saying?
execution,
So like,
yeah.
how do you determine what the audience wants? Like, is it timing?
They want something well executed.
But how would you know?
Well-
It's a new franchise. You know what
True.
I'm saying? How do you
Well,
know that Tomorrowland's not well executed until you go see it?
Well, this is a head scratcher because you have Brad Bird, who has not missed ever. You know, Iron Giant was a great movie.
God, it was so good.
Incredible is a great movie. Can he make the jump to live action? Mission Impossible 5, amazing movie. They're going to give him this franchise with George Clooney about Tomorrowland, a great script.
I just think
written
that
by
they-
David Lindelof. Like, I would have bet $300 million on it.
Man.
If you told me that on paper, if I was studio exec, I'm like, let's spend $300. You know, but you're wrong.
Yeah.
Are they basing it off? I mean, because it obviously releases internationally first. So are they basing it off of those sales? Like, if it tanks internationally, they're like, well, it's probably going to tank here.
I don't think so.
It's tanking here, and also like the China, who's usually like usually like eats up everything America has.
Yeah, they're like, I'm
it
good.
tanked in China.
And China has a billion gazillion people.
It tanked in
That's
China
crazy.
mainly because they say it's this other Japanese movie anime called Stand By Me Doraemon, which is a big
yeah.
huge
Right.
Japanese anime hit.
I forgot about
did,
that. I like
triple,
that one.
Triple the numbers that
Yeah.
Tomorrowland did.
Yeah, like but
I think it was such a large concept that I feel like they wanted to do all of these things all in this one movie. And so, I mean, again, I haven't seen it. That's what it sounded like. I couldn't tell from the first trailer. That's what hooked me. I'm like, I'm going to see
Yeah.
it.
Right,
But at the same
right.
time, I feel like they were doing too much. And so to execute all of this information of what this land is and how she got there and why she's connected. And
yeah, it's a lot.
It's a
because
lot.
I'll tell you what, there's not enough of Tomorrowland in Tomorrowland. That's the
Yeah.
problem. Like when you go to see it, there's only
It's rushed.
There's only about 10 minutes of Tomorrowland. Spoiler alert. There's only about 10 minutes of Tomorrowland in Tomorrowland.
Oh, that's terrible.
You know, and then actually there's a whole nother version of Tomorrowland which I won't spoil that takes up the last half of the movie, but that's really
so weird.
because the whole movie is like you want to be kicking it in Tomorrowland, and I'll tell you that when you're in Tomorrowland, the shit that's happening in Tomorrowland is dope. That's the best part of the movie. Like, wow, Tomorrowland is as advertised. It's amazing in here. But you're only there for 10 minutes. So that's that. Moving on, Brad Pitt just made a deal with Netflix, which is unprecedented. He's doing a film.
Plan B.
And he's really the first sort of, I don't count Kevin Spacey, but like he's the first real A-lister, like cream of the top A-lister to come and do a movie
Yeah.
with Netflix. It's just a huge deal for business wise.
I mean, it speaks to the state of affairs of the television and film industry. Like, I mean, I think Brad Pitt bringing his enterprise to Netflix is a huge deal. I mean, because he has a success rate that's killing the game. Like, I mean, he's got Oscar-winning movies with Plan B. He has like blockbuster movies, killing movies. Like, he's innovative and creative with his storytelling. Like, he's a dope actor. Like, this is a great relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Brad hasn't really missed in a while. He's doing good on the acting standpoint. He's doing good. He's got another World War Z coming out. So I'm not mad at them all. Jurassic World, it's out today. I'm excited about it. I heard that it's not that good, right, Alexis?
Oh, shut up. It's awesome.
So Alexis saw it last week, and just you love it, right?
Yes. So far, I don't want to impose my like giant opinion on it because I'm biased because I am a huge fan of all of the movies, except for maybe Lost World. But like I loved every one of them for what they were. But this is the first movie that I can say that I've seen in months, maybe. I can't remember the last time where I felt this way. Maybe Mad Max a little bit, but like in general, from start to finish, I was fully entertained. I wasn't bored at any moment in time. I went through the emotions that you're supposed to feel in a movie. You know, I was sad, I was happy, I was at the edge of my seat. I usually don't bite my nails ever, but I was actually having my fingers in my mouth at one point. Like that's how I felt about this movie. I thought it was something that entertained me.
Did you see it in 3D?
I did. I saw it in
IMAX?
IMAX and 3D.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
We'll check that out IMAX. I want to move on to E3 very quickly
Yeah, of
because
course.
we will be there next week, checking some stuff out as well. That was the wall. I know that wall very well. That's from last year.
They had that every year, my G.
I mean, look, I'm
just
not
trying to
an
tell you,
every
dog.
year
You
attendee
gotta
like
get
you.
Get
dog.
your E3 game up, G.
Next, so I'm very excited about this year's E3. Let's see any games announcements you're excited about.
There's a lot of games that are coming out, obviously, because it is E3. But right now we have the main ones that are usually called out to me that I know of is Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Batman Arkham Knight, of course, Black Ops 3, Fallout 4, Mad Max is coming out with a video game, which I think is going to be pretty sweet. I know a lot of people are like, no, but I think it'd be really fun.
Hold on, that thing looks amazing. I think the gameplay is what I'm thinking.
The gameplay I think is gonna be whack.
Looking at that game, if I'm just watching someone play it or watching the cutscenes, it looks amazing.
It looks amazing. We have Resident Evil. I think it's 0, I believe. Oh, I like Resident Evil. I'm trying to think. Of course, Star Wars Battlefront.
Yeah,
that's gonna be awesome.
I'm on that one.
And the last one I know that you're pretty psyched about is Uncharted 4.
So I don't play PlayStation, so I'm.
Well, then that's too bad for you,
All
isn't
right.
it? Wah, wah.
Did you miss the one? I mean, Akili,
Which one did you?
About?
Oh, Halo 5.
5.
That was the next one I was gonna bring up because I have updates and things.
Okay, Halo 5.
It's getting 15 plus free maps co-op, and it comes with like excellent. There's so many things that are happening for Halo 5 Guardians. Like it's gonna be crazy. Have you seen the beta and stuff like that, like the highlights?
I've done nothing.
Oh my gosh!
I've seen nothing.
Just looking at just the gameplay itself is crazy. It looks so pretty.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Halo 4. The idea of having Halo 5 for there it is. Halo 5 for that's me and Akili.
Right.
Having Halo 5 for on the Xbox One platform, I'm already freaking out about it. So
yeah,
very excited.
It just says, the director, the design director, Kevin Franklin, he said this quote that I read in an article. I can't say too much about it, but I can tell you it does incorporate all aspects of the Halo sandbox for the very first time ever. This was always a dream of ours and all of our fans to build something like this. It's been 3 years of long development and an incredible amount of playtesting. We cannot wait to show this off at the E3.
E3, I'll be there.
I mean, I just want to throw out the big news for me this week in the video game world was the Oculus Rift and the Xbox Synergy.
Yeah.
How they're going to stream all the Xbox games to the Oculus Rift,
That's
my
gonna
G.
be crazy.
Really?
Yeah, dawg, they broke that yesterday, I believe.
Okay, well, we'll see.
So I could play Halo with you with my Oculus Rift.
That's gonna be
crazy.
really.
That is crazy.
I'm just expecting people to be having their Oculus Rift and they're playing Halo, and then at one point if they're like trying to jump at something, they're gonna jump into like furniture.
There's gonna be a lot of significant others at the crib looking at you like you're crazy.
Yeah.
Like, when you're in the house, like looking around with the headphones on. Like it's already bad enough.
There's gonna be a lot of furniture being broken.
The headset and in front of the TV is already bad enough, but with the full goggles on, that's gonna be crazy. Anyway.
Oh gosh.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. I think that's it for this week. We'll have a full report of E3 next week. We're gonna go check it out and see what's what. Also, I want to remind you guys we do the Podcast One, and we're teaming with Podcast One to do this 30-second podcast survey. Please read. So podcast survey. Please go to podcastone.com, podcast1.com. Take a few minutes and fill out the survey. Let us know how you feel about podcasting in general. It's beneficial to all of us. Alexis, Torres, where can we find you?
You can find me all over the interwebs as Torres890. You can get my full review of Jurassic World, which I am going to be seeing again Sunday actually, and on my vlogs at youtube.com/atorres890, and also watch me, Joe, and everybody else here at our sister network at AfterBuzzTV.com, where if you like to watch TV and you want to hear us talk about it, come on over.
Buzz
you later.
Hey folks, y'all can find me on Instagram and Twitter and Periscope at Akili Shine, AKILISHINE, and appreciate always y'all tuning in. What about you, brother?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Periscope at Joe K. Braswell. I'm just scoping. I'm about to scope right now. Periscope, all that stuff at Joe K. Braswell, and here on our sister network on AfterBuzz doing a show called Hannibal, which I love. You should check it out. And also another show called True Detective, which is coming out on June 21st.
I'm also doing Sense8, the Wachowski brothers.
Oh, I want to
TV
ask
show.
you about that
It's
off air.
we'll talk about that off air
All
for
right.
sure.
All right, cool. All right, thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
From producers Maria Menounos, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire BHL crew, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I'm your BHL announcer, Scipio. Instagram me at Planet Scipio. Thank you for tuning in.
Hollywood redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.